Have you ever wondered why nearly every ancient tradition, from Christianity to Zoroastrianism, from Jewish mysticism to Islamic Sufism, speaks of a silent war raging over the human soul? A battle unseen by our physical eyes, yet one that has shaped every choice we make, every temptation we face, and every act of kindness we perform? Angels and demons are not simply distant myths. They are archetypes of energies, intelligences, and forces that surround us constantly, pulling us toward different destinies. Imagine for a moment standing at a crossroads. One path leads to light, harmony, and inner peace, while the other spirals into chaos, destruction, and despair. Yet both paths whisper to you. Both seem strangely familiar. Both promise something you deeply desire. This is the stage upon which angels and demons act, not as external beings alone, but as mirrors of the conflict within your own consciousness. But here is the hidden truth. This cosmic struggle is not about good and evil in the simplistic sense. It is about awakening or forgetting, about remembering your divine essence, or falling deeper into illusion. The angels represent the call to rise, to refine the soul, to see beyond the veil of material distractions. The demons, on the other hand, are not merely monstrous creatures of fire. They are the voices of distortion, the seduction of power, the shadows of your own unintegrated self. Throughout history, mystics have warned us, the greatest battlefield is not in the heavens, but in the human heart. The Book of Enoch, the teachings of Hermes, the visions of medieval mystics, all point to this same eternal truth. Humanity is at the center of a drama that transcends time, because within the human being lies the rarest treasure, free will. In this video, we will explore why angels and demons fight so fiercely for this treasure. We will uncover the historical roots of this cosmic conflict, dive into the esoteric meanings hidden beneath the surface of ancient texts, and most importantly, discover what it means for you today. For the war for your soul is not just an allegory. It is happening here and now, in every choice you make.
To understand why angels and demons are said to fight for the human soul, we must first step back into the ancient landscapes of thought where this idea was born. Long before modern religions solidified their doctrines, humanity whispered about unseen forces guiding or corrupting the path of man. In ancient Mesopotamia, the cradle of civilization, people spoke of watchers, celestial beings who observed humanity, sometimes offering wisdom, sometimes leading mortals astray. These beings appear again in Jewish mysticism, especially in the Book of Enoch, where certain angels fall because of their lust for earthly pleasures. The lesson is profound. Even celestial beings are not immune to the gravity of human desire. From this story arises the theme of a cosmic tension, the soul of man as the prize in a battle that is as old as creation itself. Zoroastrianism, one of the world's earliest monotheistic religions, described existence as a war between Ahura Mazda, the Lord of Light, and Engra Mainyu, the Spirit of Darkness. Every human act of truth or deceit was not merely personal, it tipped the cosmic scales. Here again, we see the belief that human life is not small or insignificant, but rather the central arena of the universe's spiritual drama. The Greeks, too, offered their vision of guiding spirits. Plato spoke of the daemonion, an inner voice or spiritual presence that nudged him toward truth and away from error. Interestingly, the word daemon in Greek did not carry the same sinister tone it does today. It referred to intermediary beings, guardians, or inspirers of the human soul. Over time, as Christianity spread, the meaning of demon shifted from neutral intermediary to malevolent force, reflecting a change in how humanity understood this invisible struggle. The Abrahamic traditions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, further crystallized the narrative of angels and demons. In Christianity, the fall of Lucifer represents the corruption of divine will, and his rebellion becomes the archetype of pride and separation from God. In Islam, Iblis refuses to bow to Adam not because of disbelief in God, but out of arrogance, declaring that fire is greater than clay. In both traditions, the human being stands at the center. Angels serve humanity as protectors and guides, while demons attempt to drag man away from his divine origin. Esoteric teachings add another layer, the idea that angels and demons are not simply external entities, but reflections of higher and lower states of consciousness. The Hermetic maxim, "as above, so below," suggests that the heavenly war mirrors the inner war. The light is your higher self, the darkness your shadow. This does not mean demons are imaginary, but rather that they exist both as outer intelligences and as inner forces within the labyrinth of the psyche. Thus, across traditions, one truth repeats: humanity is the battleground, not because we are weak, but because we are powerful. Within us lies the spark of divine will, the freedom to choose. Angels and demons fight not because we are pawns, but because our choices ripple through eternity, influencing the destiny of worlds unseen.
If the historical context teaches us that angels and demons fight for human souls, the next question is why? Why are we so important that cosmic forces concern themselves with our choices? The answer lies in a mystery often overlooked: free will. Unlike animals who act mostly by instinct, or angels who serve the divine without deviation, humans stand at the threshold between heaven and earth. We are beings of matter and spirit combined, and within us is the extraordinary gift of choosing. Every choice either lifts us closer to the divine or binds us more tightly to illusion. This power is what makes the human soul so precious and so contested. Think of it like a lamp in the darkness. Within you burns a flame, small yet radiant, capable of illuminating not only your path, but the paths of others. Angels seek to nurture this flame, to expand it until it shines like the sun. Demons, on the other hand, seek to smother it, not always by extinguishing it outright, but by distracting, distorting, and feeding it false fuel. They do not win by brute force, but by convincing you to hand over your own light. From an esoteric perspective, angels can be seen as higher intelligences aligned with order, harmony, and truth. They are like tuning forks that resonate with the divine frequency, calling your soul to vibrate in harmony. Demons, conversely, embody dissonance and fragmentation. They whisper of shortcuts, of pleasure without responsibility, of power without wisdom. Their greatest weapon is not fear, but subtle suggestion. Consider the story of temptation. Not always a dramatic confrontation, but often a quiet thought. Just this once, no one will know. This is how the demonic works, planting seeds that grow into weeds, choking the garden of the soul. And yet the same principle works in the other direction. Angels often appear not in thunder or flame, but as gentle nudges, in intuition, a sudden clarity, a voice that reminds you of what is right when everything else tempts you otherwise. But why the fight at all? If the divine is all-powerful, why allow such opposition? Mystical traditions answer this with a paradox. Without opposition, there is no growth. A muscle does not strengthen without resistance. A soul does not awaken without temptation. Angels and demons exist not simply to pull us apart, but to sharpen our will. By resisting distortion and choosing truth, the soul exercises its freedom and grows luminous. The Kabbalists speak of this as tikkun olam, the repairing of the world. Each soul is a fragment of divine light trapped in a shell of darkness. The struggle against demons, the forces of ego, pride, and illusion, is the very process by which that shell cracks and the light escapes. Similarly, in Christian mysticism, the trials of temptation are not curses, but opportunities, mirrors in which we discover the depth of our own faith. We might picture the human soul as a precious jewel buried in clay. Angels polish it, revealing its brilliance. Demons cover it with more dirt, convincing you that the jewel was never there at all. But ultimately, the jewel is indestructible. It is your divine essence. The battle is not over whether the jewel exists, but whether you will recognize it and claim it as your own. And so, the fight for the human soul is not about domination, but about direction. Angels want you to ascend, to awaken to your origin in the divine. Demons want you to descend, to forget, to drown in the illusions of the material world. Yet in both cases, the choice is always yours. This is the heart of the mystery. The battlefield is within. The weapons are thoughts and desires. And the victory is not imposed from outside, but chosen from within. Now that we understand the central role of free will and the inner flame of the soul, we must go deeper into the subtler layers of this mystery. Angels and demons do not fight in the way humans imagine wars, with swords and armies. Their battleground is consciousness, and their strategies unfold in silence, in whispers, in the unseen currents of thought and emotion. One of the greatest secrets of esoteric wisdom is that angels and demons represent patterns of energy. Angels move in harmony with divine order, like rivers flowing toward the ocean. Their influence aligns your inner world with truth, compassion, and clarity. Demons, by contrast, operate through distortion. Imagine looking at your reflection in a broken mirror. Your form is still there, but it is fragmented, twisted. Demonic influence works in much the same way, not by creating new realities, but by warping the perception of the existing one. For example, the angelic impulse of courage lifts you to face difficulties with dignity. Its demonic counterpart, however, twists courage into recklessness or pride. Love, in its angelic form, expands the soul, connecting you to others in purity and compassion. But distorted into obsession or control, it becomes demonic. In this way, demons feed not on foreign powers, but on the misalignment of divine gifts. They take what is holy and bend it. This insight reveals why spiritual traditions constantly warn us about vigilance over the mind and heart. The war for the soul is subtle. It is not always about choosing between good and evil in obvious forms, but about discerning between what uplifts and what corrupts. Angels and demons often wear similar masks. It is the hidden intention behind them that separates light from shadow. Another nuance is the role of suffering. Many spiritual traditions hold that demons are permitted to test the soul, not because the divine wishes harm, but because trials reveal the hidden strength within. Just as fire purifies gold, so temptation and struggle refine the soul. Without the resistance of darkness, light would remain untested and shallow. Mystics often describe this as the dark night of the soul, a period where one feels abandoned, surrounded by shadows. Yet it is often in this very darkness that the presence of angels is closest, guiding invisibly until the soul emerges transformed. Moreover, the struggle is not merely individual. Humanity as a whole is part of this cosmic drama. When entire societies give in to greed, violence, or pride, demonic influence magnifies on a collective scale, shaping history through wars, oppression, and cruelty. Conversely, when communities align with justice, compassion, and wisdom, angelic currents flow through culture, giving rise to art, philosophy, and moments of collective awakening. Thus, the war for souls is both personal and universal. There is also a hidden teaching in the Hermetic tradition that angels and demons ultimately serve the same divine purpose. The angels call us upward, while the demons force us to confront the shadows we would otherwise ignore. They are, in a paradoxical way, allies of awakening. Because every temptation resisted strengthens the will, every shadow faced reveals more light. From this higher perspective, the battle is not about eternal enemies locked in endless war, but about the alchemy of transformation in which both forces play a role. To summarize, angels and demons do not fight for your soul in some distant battlefield of heaven. They fight within you, around you, and through the very fabric of your choices. Angels uplift your divine essence, demons distort it. But the jewel of the soul remains indestructible. The question is whether it will shine or remain hidden under layers of illusion. And now we come to the most important part: how to live this truth. For knowledge without practice is like a map never used. The next step is to uncover how you can apply these insights in your daily life, and how to strengthen the angelic presence while disarming the demonic influences that whisper in the shadows. It is one thing to know that angels and demons fight for the human soul. It is another to live with that awareness and to consciously align yourself with the forces of light. Knowledge without practice is like a sword left in its sheath. It cannot protect, it cannot transform. So, how can you take this cosmic truth and apply it in your daily life? The first step is awareness. Most demonic influences succeed not because they are strong, but because they are subtle. They whisper in the voice of your own desires. They clothe themselves in justification. Begin by observing your thoughts with detachment, as though you are a guardian watching the gates of your mind. Ask yourself, does this thought uplift me, or does it pull me into distortion? Does it expand my heart or contract it? This simple vigilance is the first shield against deception. Second, cultivate practices that strengthen the angelic current within you. Prayer, meditation, or even moments of silent reflection are ways of tuning your inner frequency to the higher order. Imagine your mind as a musical instrument. Left untuned, it produces disharmony. But when tuned daily through mindfulness, gratitude, and compassion, it resonates with the harmonics of the divine. Even 5 minutes of conscious breathing each day can serve as a silent invitation for angelic presence to guide your thoughts. Third, engage in conscious action. Angels are not only beings of thought, they are drawn to deeds of light. Every act of kindness, every moment of honesty, every time you choose integrity over convenience, you strengthen your alignment. Think of it as feeding the angelic current. The more you act in harmony with truth, the stronger that current flows through you. Equally important is recognizing and disarming the strategies of the demonic. They thrive in secrecy and shame. When you feel overwhelmed by anger, lust, envy, or despair, bring it into the light of awareness instead of hiding it. Speak it to a trusted friend, write it in a journal, or pray about it. Exposing the shadow robs it of its power.
Remember, demons are masters of distortion, but they cannot stand in the clarity of truth. Another practical tool is symbolic ritual. Throughout history, humans have used symbols, sacred words, and protective practices to anchor themselves in the light. This could be as simple as lighting a candle each morning as a reminder that your soul is a flame meant to shine. Or carrying a symbol of faith, not as superstition, but as a conscious reminder of your higher calling. Rituals create touchstones in your daily life that recenter you amidst chaos. Finally, embrace struggle as part of the path. Do not despair when you feel tempted or when you stumble into shadow. Remember, the very resistance you face is an opportunity to grow. As gold is tested in fire, so your soul shines brighter each time you overcome a challenge. The goal is not perfection, but persistence, the steady choice, day by day, to turn your face toward the light. In living this way, you transform the battlefield of your soul into a sanctuary. Angels are drawn to dwell in hearts that strive for truth, while demons lose their foothold in those who refuse to feed their illusions.
The war for the human soul is not a myth confined to ancient scriptures or the imagination of mystics. It is the hidden current flowing through every moment of your life. Angels and demons are not merely distant beings locked in eternal conflict. They are patterns of energy, archetypes of consciousness, and very real presences that shape the choices you make. We have seen that across history, whether in the visions of the Book of Enoch, the teachings of Zoroastrianism, the philosophies of Plato, or the revelations of the Abrahamic traditions, the same truth echoes. The human soul is the most precious treasure in the cosmos. Why? Because within it lies free will, the rarest gift of all. Unlike the stars that move in fixed patterns, unlike angels who serve without deviation, unlike demons who rebel by their nature, human beings stand at the threshold of both worlds, able to choose. This is why the struggle is so fierce. Every choice, every thought, every action tips the balance. Angels whisper of light, demons whisper of shadows, but you hold the final authority. You are not a pawn in this cosmic game. You are the key player. And yet, there is no reason to live in fear. The jewel of your soul is indestructible. It cannot be stolen, only hidden beneath layers of illusion. The purpose of this struggle is not to destroy you, but to awaken you. Without resistance, there can be no strength. Without temptation, there can be no triumph. So the question remains, which current will you align with? Will you allow your soul to shine as a lamp in the darkness, or will you let the whispers of distortion cloud your light? The answer is written in your daily choices. Each act of kindness, each moment of clarity, each refusal to give in to illusion strengthens the angelic within you. You are not alone. Countless unseen allies stand beside you, waiting for you to remember. The battle is real, the choice is yours, and the time is now.